confidence isn't just how you look, it's how you feel. From subtle, natural aesthetics to personalized wellness care, everything we do is intentional. This is beauty with purpose. At Vibe Men's Health, we take that same approach. We focus on what matters most: strength, energy, and performance. Built on real data, real medicine, and real results, we're here to help you look better, feel stronger, and live full. Come vibe with us today.
Mississippi's trusted weather experts. This is Mississippi Live Weather at 10.
Welcome in to Mississippi Live Weather at 10. I'm Chief Meteorologist Matt Lopon. We're going to have an action-packed show. We, of course, have your highlights, fan section of the week, and most valuable non-player from our Game of the Week presented by Casey Lott coming up here in just a couple moments. But before that, I don't want to skip over what other folks outside had this evening, and that was a spectacular sunset. These Weather Watchers pictures sent in using the Mississippi Live Weather app of, again, the high, thin clouds there. A little bit of moisture trying to fall out of those, not getting anywhere near the surface. And you look a little closer here on Lee's picture there from Tupelo. That's just the good stuff, where the long wavelengths there are able to capture some beautiful shots. Kenny and New Albany there, another great shot of, again, the beautiful color we had from these thin clouds today, which is obviously the opposite of what we had with the active weather last night across the Magnolia State. We'll talk a little bit more about those tornado touchdowns and the new report coming out on that coming up here in a couple of minutes. But nothing like that for tonight. 57 temperature at 11, dropping to 51 by 5 a.m. Low temperature probably in the upper 40s to start your Friday morning. So maybe a light jacket initially, but by 8 a.m. we're 53 and headed to 69 by 11. And high temperatures expected to be a little warmer than that, obviously going to be probably mid-70s for tomorrow. But right now we're in the 50s and dropping under these mostly cloudy skies. I think that has slowed the drop in temperature. Those same clouds we were showing you a second ago kind of acting to insulate us to a certain extent. Mama Justice Doppler radar, looking more at the satellite perspective. Those high, thin clouds come over top of us. High pressure center, the story on that there. We are going to have the most limited of chances for maybe some active weather as we head into this upcoming weekend. You'll notice no real risks left for today. For tomorrow, that risk primarily south. It's not impossible this comes maybe just a nudge northward, and we'll show that to you with Futurecast here in just a moment. We'll use our exclusive strike model to look at Storm Finder. But again, looking toward tomorrow in particular, as you can see here, our forecast on our 7-day here, pretty limited rain chances for most of the day until probably late in the day. And that's when I think we'll have some showers and thunderstorms that try to move in from 49 in the morning to 72 by noon and 73 degrees to look toward 5 p.m. By 10 p.m., I think that's going to be up there closer to around 61, and those rain chances increasing in coverage. I think we'll have more around for Saturday. I think early in the day, the time frame we're watching Saturday, most of the rest of the day, we should be drying out. Rain chances as we look towards Sunday, primarily going to end up being, I think, the late afternoon. We might be a little high at 60%. I don't want to do a knee-jerk reaction downward on that, but projections slowing down the arrival of those afternoon storms a little bit there, hopefully in all cases below severe limits, and then drier behind this, a front that moves in that keeps us in the 70s and much, much cooler temperatures as we look there into the first of next week for some lows, but drier and warming up as we go throughout the week. So this is Storm Finder, a Mississippi Live exclusive. Storms for tomorrow. You can see where a few of these where there's the lightning strikes showing up primarily down to the south. That's why, again, that severe weather threat is to the south of us. In saying that, watch what happens out here in Oklahoma with this batch of storms there. As that tries to move in from the north and west, that's going to try to bring us maybe some rumbles overnight tomorrow night. Now, I think this is overdone on our Storm Finder here, but does show at least some thunderstorms kind of spreading in. So the expectation would be if you're going to see rainfall on Saturday, it's really going to be prior to dawn. It looks like there could be a decent amount of it in some spots, but I think this is overdone, and we'll do that comparison with the HRRR, our other version of Futurecast that we show in the high-resolution modeling here in a minute. But no, 6 a.m., still showing some there. Grenada, Eupora, Aberdeen, working to clear out. So if you have to get out at the crack of dawn, we're probably going to have some rain around by 9:30, 10 o'clock. A lot of that starts to slip away as it moves toward the south and east. And we expect that most of the Saturday afternoon, again, dry. Sunday, we fast forward here to the afternoon, 2:30, 3 o'clock. More showers and storms trying to move in. And the fact that this could time out more during the time where folks are out and about, That's why we have the higher percentage on there. Around 50%, I'd say, on the coverage of that, which is why on the 7-day we might need to drop that just a hint more, just kind of looking at that. And then maybe some limited chances for a couple of rumbles there early Monday, your kind of outlook toward the weekend. In high resolution here, though, with calm winds and clear skies and that high pressure sliding away from us, we should clear things out just a little bit. And you will note, looking at low temperatures tomorrow morning, where that happens most substantially. And it's obviously going to be here where we're about 47 in New Albany, 46 degrees in Booneville, and 45 in Corinth. So a little bit cooler for some of those spots versus low 50s around the Golden Triangle, that little layer of cloud cover kind of keeping us from dropping as far as maybe we eventually will. Heading in past 9 a.m., 10 a.m. tomorrow, not much out there. Showing a couple of sprinkles trying to come up from the south and west out here, Yazoo City to Greenville. But again, as this lifts in, not a lot of meaningful moisture with this as we progress throughout your Friday afternoon. So that's, again, while we're going 20% of that coverage of rainfall tomorrow, not expected to see much. Most of that is going to be to the south. So mid-70s out there for highs on your Friday, as we're going to be still pretty dry and still dealing with some filtered sunlight, so we don't get quite as warm as maybe we would if we got the just full blast sunshine. Futurecast showing maybe a couple sprinkles out there again Friday in the evening, but most of that out of here. And then here's that overnight chance. Remember we talked about the big kind of complex our other version of the model had here a moment ago? This is different on position, different on development, but same on the fact that it has these thunderstorms getting a little heavier, arguably strong to maybe severe, with some strong wind gusts for early Saturday morning. So that's where, again, a severe threat for Saturday could materialize just to our south. That's something our meteorologist Maggie McCauley will be updating tomorrow morning with the latest on that risk area starting at 6:30 a.m. We're milder for Saturday morning in the mid-50s to maybe low 60s. That's still a little below our normal for this time of year, despite being considerably, almost 10 degrees warmer in some cases than will be for tomorrow morning. So Saturday on this projection is, you can see most of those showers to the south. A little bit of slightly drier air, more than necessarily cooler air settling in. And that's why when we look at Saturday's forecast, maybe a little pop-up, but not much. And temperatures, it might seem odd that they could go up a little bit more Saturday, despite a cold front arriving. I think it's that drier air that kind of could help us boost those temperatures. But we might be just a smidgen high in a couple of spots there if we keep a little bit of cloud cover around. And then by Saturday night, again, checking out that risk for some rainfall on Sunday, the reason we're kind of looking here at Futurecast. You'll note here in the morning, nothing there. It'll probably take until afternoon before storms fire along this front. For you back up there in, say, South Haven or Corinth or Booneville, you can see noontime we're going to have a few isolated showers popping up, maybe when you get out of church there, but a greater quantity of these behind our frontal boundary by afternoon and into the evening. Maybe some rumbles, but not expecting these to be terribly strong. As we showed you on Storm Finder, just not a lot of lightning for these to kind of work off of there, thankfully, and that means limiting the severe weather risk. So another look here at your 7-day forecast, breaking it down day by day. So tomorrow, as you saw, some limited chances late in the day. That 76 mostly dry for most of us. 81 for Saturday, 82 for Sunday. I'm probably overdoing it. I think Maggie will have to probably take this percentage down a little bit more there for Sunday based on the latest look at that. But you're probably more likely during the daytime period to have some issues with rainfall on Sunday. It'd be early Saturday morning and then late Sunday, well, mainly Sunday afternoon we'll have it. So I think that kind of middle chunk of the weekend between Saturday morning and Sunday afternoon should hopefully be dry, and then dry next week. Building as we have much, much drier air move in. Notice no rain chances. We go 4 days at least, kind of get into a blocking pattern that tries to keep us from having any issues there. Okay, I know that there are some of you that are tuning in only for sports. Before we head to break here in a second, let's get our fan section of the week from our Mississippi Live Game of the Week presented by Casey Lott. This is going to be the Kossuth Aggies.
I have been going to Tupelo Smiles my whole life. When I was a kid, I was unhappy about some uneven coloring on my teeth after getting my braces off, which at the time there really wasn't a fix. I was recently made aware of a solution that would totally fix it, which is exactly what we did. They not only heard my concerns, but they never stopped looking to solve my problem, and that's why I love Tupelo Smiles.
When C.K. Little opened his doors in downtown Corinth nearly 80 years ago, his plan was simple: deliver excellent service and exceed expectations. That's why we say a little gift goes a long way.
We can see the lowering. We're going to have a good shot at that as it approaches the Rienzi area. Tornado warning now issued. We'll do a push alert behind the scenes for folks here up here in Alcorn County. Rotation on this thunderstorm increasing to the point back into Tippah County as well, where the National Weather Service has issued a tornado warning for your locations.
Right now, from the Room to Room Weather Center, here's Mississippi's Chief Meteorologist, Matt Lobhon.
And you know, on these nights, it's not just weather. We've talked about that. It is sports. Our Mississippi Live Game of the Week presented by Casey Lott and Langston Lott up in Alcorn County. North half final softball action between Kossuth, the home team in this case, despite it being in Corinth, and Nettleton. Who won game one of this three-game series? We go to our Ethan Foster for the answer.
Beautiful weather out in Corinth as two teams met for game one of the 3A North Half Championship Series. Fans coming out to see the Nettleton Tigers taking on the Aggies from Kossuth. Both looking to punch their ticket to the 3A State Title Series. Both teams scoreless until the top of the third. Nettleton with the first strike here. Savannah Harlow slaps the ball safe at first, and then an errant throw over to third allows Josie Smith to get back up and run in home safe. She slid into third thinking she maybe was going to be out. She actually makes it in safe right there. Nettleton goes up 1-0, top of the third. Same inning here. Addie Bates up at the plate. She hits that ball on a line, error by the infield. That allows Savannah Harlow to come in to score. And Elle Davis making it look easy to slide in a skirt there. The pinch runner, Elle Davis. Nettleton goes up 3-0. Still the top of the third, building the lead here. Same inning. Anna Taylor at the plate now. Lined out into left field, a deep ball. That's an RBI double. That actually allowed Addie Bates to score all the way from first base. That ball went all the way back to the back of the outfield there. Nettleton lead up 4-0. Skipping ahead to the top of the fifth inning here. Anna Taylor's going to pop this one out to right field. They're going to catch it out, but that is going to allow Savannah Harlow to tag up and score from third base. Nettleton lead goes up 5 in the top of the fifth. Skipping ahead again to the top of the seventh here. Addie Bates with the sac fly out to left field. Going to make the catch out there. That allowed Chloe Humble to tag up and slide in safely at home for a run. The Nettleton lead goes up to 6 in the top of the seventh inning. Very comfortable lead. Last play of the game here. The Tigers were dominant all game long. They're going to make the catch, and that is going to allow the Nettleton Tigers to take a final score, final win for the night, 6-0. The Tigers absolutely dominant on the road tonight, and they are just happy to secure that first win. Crucial win. They win it 6-0. They win game one to try and clinch the series, secure their spot in the 3A state title game. Kossuth will try to salvage another game and stay alive to force a game three. As always, thanks so much to our sponsors at Langston and Lott for making our game of the week possible. We can't wait for more right here on Mississippi Live Sports.
Well, thank you so much for that, Ethan, again, up there in Corinth this evening. It's certainly a tight game to begin, and the best part about this, again, a three-game series, best of three, so we will see if Kossuth is able to turn the corner again tomorrow. Of course, Kossuth won the fan section of the week. They also won the most valuable non-player Meat Pop.
And I've got two granddaughters, Hallie Kate Smith and Audrey Butler. It means a lot to come here and watch them play.
What would you say out here to the people who voted and to the team?
I'll thank them all for voting for me. I'm proud of the team. I'm proud to come watch them play. And I hope it gets better tomorrow.
Gotta love Pop. And hopefully for his sake and for those girls up there in Kossuth, it does go a little bit better tomorrow. But congratulations to Nettleton for the big win this evening. One step closer to making it down there to a state championship appearance. Obviously, that's what the goal is all season long, and we're excited for them. I'm going to bring things back over here to the weather side for a moment. And want to thank Langston Lott for being our partner all year long on high school sports for our game of the week, as it has been a lot of fun for us. And certainly it seems like it's been a lot of fun for you guys as well. I'm going to bring things over to Mama Justice Doppler Radar for a moment. It's kind of address one of the things we sort of talked about, obviously. Yeah, I see someone behind the scenes. That's Ethan, of course, in the comments there saying another game of the week picked right by Ethan. Yep, he nailed this one again. His biggest cheering section. Appreciate that. And he's not wrong. He did win it again, get it right. So we're excited for that. Okay, so looking back here, I'm going to change this a lapse here over the last 2 days. I want to go back to last night. Of course, we had tornadoes that happened in South Mississippi last night. I'm going to try to kind of clear this to where it doesn't make it look like things are going on. We do have new information on those tornado touchdowns that's come in this evening related to the strength of those storms. First and foremost here, we have a total of 2 EF3 tornadoes. That would be 2 pretty strong tornadoes confirmed by the folks there at the National Weather Service in Jackson. The first of those, some of these red circles you see down here in Adams County, closer to, say, Kingston there near Garden City. The way they're describing this, the Garden City tornado. This tornado that started in Garden City and moved there toward Bude was on the ground for, let's double check this, 30.7 miles. That's what we call long track strong tornado, reaching a peak width of just under a mile at 9/10 of a mile on the ground from 6:40 p.m. to 7:27. So, I mean, the better part of more than 40 minutes. So obviously a very significant tornado. The second tornado touched down shortly after that. Again, EF3 strength, 136 miles per hour on that. EF3, 137 miles per hour, the strength on the next one. This is the one that caused the most injuries, at 12 injuries, sitting down about 8 northwest of the Smithdale community. So we'll see if we can get in close enough to get that to kind of pop on here. We're not going to pop on. Sometimes the smaller places don't always come on the way I'd hope they would. But anyway, this is the one here that caused the damage there south of Brookhaven in Lincoln County. As it moved from Franklin to Lincoln County on the ground for 35, almost 36 miles, 35.9 miles as it moved toward the north and east. The damage significant, and that's where I think you saw a lot of the videos earlier on today and last night coming out of some of the manufactured home damage that was there. You might say, well, how is that not higher? Which is a reasonable question to ask. And the answer is, so far, the strongest thing that they've seen that was hit by this tornado, I believe, were some transmission lines for basically electrical transmission lines. They were strong enough. The thing is that a manufactured home cannot register, I believe, beyond an EF2 strength on a tornado, even if it's completely wiped clean there, because the wind can get below it, roll it over. And so that then means that it's more difficult to judge. So the EF rating uses the structural integrity of structures to figure out how strong it is. So that one rated EF3 for now. Both of those are preliminary ratings related to this here. And so I want to read something that National Weather Service just dropped in our chat right at the beginning of our broadcast here. So this is Daniel Lamb with the National Weather Service saying, "Good evening, everyone. It was a long but productive day with over 70 miles of tornado path and 472 individual damage assessment points looking at their survey teams looked at. So 2 longest tornado paths both received EF3 strength there. Even with the quantity of information collected, there will be more to look over the next few days, including drone footage, high-res satellite, to kind of look and see if there are pockets of damage there, the more significant. But they believe that this is what they would say high-level preliminary information. That's another way to say that I think it would be difficult for this to get upgraded to EF4. We talked about last night how the lofting of the damage was important. We talked about how high that debris was lofted. And so the fact that last night that debris was being lofted up there 20,000 plus feet, we talked about how that could be EF3 or greater in strength. the reason it did not rate higher from the sounds of it is because it does not sound like it hit anything, or at least caused significant enough damage to what it hit to rate higher, because we rate it not just upon how fast it looks like it's going, but on the damage and what it takes in a wind tunnel to create that kind of damage. So hopefully that kind of makes sense on why the ratings are what they are on that so far. Thing to note here is that there are places that they have not reached. They tracked all those grouping of tornadoes all the way there south of Monticello. Again, that was one of those that was rated EF3. And then down here toward the Prentice area, these, I believe, were rated around EF1 in strength. Let me double check that here. I have an EF0 that was near Prentice. So the one that was south of Prentice there was EF0 in strength. And then you had another EF1, a couple of those that set down just to the east there as well, kind of where I'm pointing there with my mouse. So a couple of other tornadoes down south, north of the north of Tylertown here, had a tornado that was rated up at EF0, a couple reports there, and then south of Tylertown, one that was rated EF1. I started saying this a second ago, but a tornado report, of course, came from south of Hattiesburg area near Purvis. A lot of damage video coming in from that earlier on this evening, last night. But the National Weather Service has notably not made it there yet to review that damage. Here's kind of a shot of some of what that damage and what it looked like as sent in here. Of course, a lot of trees down, things of that nature. There just wasn't enough bodies to get down there and review this tornado today. So they're going to be heading back there to Forest County to get kind of an idea on that. So they're going to be out there tomorrow. And it's, as they say, their top priority to get an idea there. It's possible there could be other areas that they have to review the tornado damage. If that is the case, then we expect to have those reports over the next couple of days. But as you can see, obviously in Purvis, plenty of tornado damage, unfortunately, from last night's storms. We can, of course, keep you up to date on this. As you can see, Lincoln County, that was where you had one of those EF3 ratings. You can send in your weather pictures to us using the Mississippi Live Weather app, free and available for all of those different devices. As we've talked about, again, that's one of those things that's critical on nights like last night to make sure you know where to go in case of safety. And not a bad idea if you have friends and family outside of the northern part of the state to let them know that in high-end events, we're going to cover some of those as well. As long as we don't have something up here in North Mississippi, we kind of have to protect all the folks up here to make sure that we're not kind of overdoing things statewide. So I think at some point, hopefully we'll expand more deeply across the state, but that's still probably a bit of time in the future. But download the app as we continue that process. And of course, the more people are watching, the more likely we're going to continue to cover it. We appreciate that and appreciate all of you guys for that have gone ahead and downloaded that for all of your different devices. Our next broadcast is going to be tomorrow morning, 6:37, 7:30 a.m. Our meteorologist Maggie McCauley tracking what could be, again, those spotty rain chances late in the day tomorrow, and any upgrade to the severe weather chances over the weekend. We don't expect them to become any kind of high risk, but some limited reports of strong wind, maybe hail possibility in the worst case scenario. She'll have the latest look at that here in the Room to Room Weather Center at 6:37 and 7:30 a.m. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Growing up, Gabe was naturally curious when he began to discover weather. Gabe just didn't want to know what was happening, but he wanted to know why it was happening. Gabe became fascinated with tornadoes, and it impacted his life. He wanted to pursue a career in meteorology. Even though Gabe grew up in Alabama, Mississippi has now become his home and his family. And one thing about Gabe is he keeps his family safe.